Hi, my name is Lucinda and I'm an overconsumerist. Raise your hand if you're an overconsumer as well. Be honest. You over there, Catherine, I see you. Be honest. Put your hand up. And that's where it actually starts, right? It starts with self-awareness. Self-awareness is half of the work. We know that we consume too much, so we're going to do something about it, and that's why we're on our 2024 low buy, no buy journey. We're now recovering overconsumers. So I'm wondering how your no buy, low buy year is going, and here I'm going to tell you about mine, how it's going for me, and how it has been going in January actually. So here are all my no buy categories, and most of them I actually did pretty well. I didn't buy anything, but the ones that I did buy something in is in the category of books. I spent $91 on Japanese books. I did spend on Nintendo stuff and game stuff. I bought $38 worth of this little thing that you can attach your old Nintendo to your new TV screens on. So I did that. And then subscriptions, I did spend $88 on AG1, which is this supplement, greens supplement. And lastly, I went out to dinner with a friend for $64. All of these things I have a reason for, right? So the $91 on the Japanese textbooks that I spend, I am justifying that to myself because I've always wanted to learn Japanese, and now I finally have the time to try to learn Japanese. So I don't feel too bad about that purchase. And it's all about those justifications, right? For example, the AG1 that I bought, but I actually today canceled that subscription. I did that because I thought that I wasn't getting enough green, specifically with my line of work. It was hard for me to have a normal meal most of the times, so I thought that it would make me healthier. But am I just making excuses for myself, or do I actually have good reasons to buy these things? To be honest, I'm actually a little bit proud of myself because I did spend about half of what I would normally spend on non-essentials, but it's nowhere near the amount of non-spending that I want to do, right? I want to cut out most of these non-essentials, if not all, with this no-buy/low buy year. And then I'm wondering, is that my fault? Is it just because I don't have enough willpower, or is it because of consumerism, that which basically surrounds me all day? Is it consumerism's fault that I'm still spending money? Consumerism is the idea that increasing our consumption of goods and services in the market will have a positive result on our well-being. Or at least that's what the companies want us to think. And when talking about economics, when consumers spend more, when you and me spend more, that's the key driver to economic growth. And economic growth is good for the nation, it creates more jobs, and that means that basically driving consumerism, making us spend more, is just good national policy. So to that end, an average American actually sees 4,000 to 10,000 ads a day, which sounds like a lot, but it is insidious. Even when I was researching that stat on the Google page, there were ads next to the search results, right? You have ads everywhere. You have ads on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, any of the free apps that you use, on TV, on the radio. When you're driving, you see billboards. It's everywhere. And then yes, you can pay so that you see less ads. For example, the YouTube Premium, right? Or all the streaming services so that you don't see any ads. But then you have to spend to see less ads. So in that way, you're still feeding the economy. It's good for you to see less ads, but it's basically bad for your wallet. And sometimes we're not even aware that it's an ad. These haul videos come to mind. It's that type of content where a creator is showing what they bought in a specific store or in a specific category, like book hauls or tech hauls or clothing hauls from a specific store. And then it just seems that they spend their own money, but sometimes they're actually being paid by the producers of those products, and then they're just not disclosing it correctly. Now, I'm not saying that every haul video is like that, and I'm sure that it's gotten better now in 2024, but still, sometimes it's actually the creator that has good intentions, right? They're actually not being sponsored and they actually use a specific product and they just want you to know that this is something good to use in your day-to-day, and then you're being influenced to buy it. An example of that is those Japanese textbooks that I bought. I was actually just looking on YouTube to find the best way how to learn Japanese, not necessarily to buy anything, but then over and over and over again, I saw creators talking about their Japanese learning experience and which books they were using. And then I thought, well, if I see these books all the time, then I might just buy one. It was also a little bit late in the day. I think it was in the evening, actually, when I made that purchase. And that actually is something significant, which I will talk about later on in this video. Now I'm changing my life, and it's an ongoing practice of applying the principles of slow living, minimalism, and essentialism. And basically curtailing my spending a lot less, is a huge part of that endeavor. Now, I'm super fortunate that I don't have any debt and I have a good chunk of savings. So me not spending is mainly to practice intentionality of what I bring into my home. And also in my own small way, make sure that I have less of an impact on the environment just by buying more sustainably. Another reason for me to buy less is because I just recently quit my job and I want to be job free for a considerable period of time. I'm thinking about a year, maybe 2 years, in order to figure out what's next. And with that, I do need to change my spending habits quite a bit to be able to do so. And I know that that comes from a place of great privilege in order to not have a job for a few years, to be able to then say I have to spend less to maintain that lifestyle. But for so many families, they have a budget, and that's just because they are not in a financial position in which they can spend a lot of money. So all of that to say is that for every single family, every single person, there's a different reason why they are spending less. And then obviously in these times where inflation and rising prices are something that we all have to deal with, I feel like all of us are spending a lot less on non-essentials in our day-to-day. I think that really a lot of us have good reason to try and step out of that consumerism trap that many of us find ourselves in. But since consumerism really seems to be an integral part in that capitalistic society that we live in, at least here in America, I think that the only thing that we can conceivably do to stick to our low buy, no buy years is to work on our willpower, because that's what's going to help us to spend less money, right? And then to think about your willpower, I think it means that we need to think about the following questions. What do I value? What type of life do I want to create? What do I need versus what do I want? So, for example, if you think about what do I value things or do I value experiences? That could be a question, right? And for me, in this season of my life, I value experiences over materialistic things because I just don't need anything. And that really ties into that third question too, right? Need versus want. And honestly, that really is a tricky one if you come to think of it. So for example, in January, I did spend $64 on having dinner with a friend, and that was really nice. We had a really great time. So in the sense of needing it, I think so, because humans, we need connections. We thrive in community, and I think it's really good to have those points of contact with friends and family. So I needed that. But did I actually need the dinner in itself? I don't think so. It wasn't the dinner that I needed the connection to a friend. And that could be done in any of, different scenarios. And we've done that before. We've done really nice walks in parks, and we've done really nice walks on the beach. And those are cheap, if not free, ways to still get that need of connection, to fulfill that need still. And then I'm thinking about that AG1 again. Was that really a need or a want? To be honest, I started taking AG1 because I was watching a lot of Andrew Huberman, our resident internet neuroscientist, and he keeps peddling AG1 and saying that it's one of those really good supplements that is really good for you. And then I started thinking that I needed it because it was hard for me to get good meals when I was still working. I mentioned that before. But now I'm home. I'm no longer on the road so often. So I can get nutrients from veggies, from greens, from fruit. I don't need a supplement, I think. And this is where it gets hard, because do I know what I need? Or am I wrong? Do I actually need this supplement? At this point, I'm just deciding that I don't need it. Also, I just don't want to spend $88 a month, right? So right now, when I try to decide if a purchase is worth it, I think about the fact, is this purchase going to pull me closer to or pull me away from the new lifestyle and associated core values that I'm aspiring to? I also try to make decisions on what to buy and what not to buy more earlier in the day, kind of in the morning, because with the ease of how we can purchase things now online, we can buy stuff all day, every day, anywhere. And that also makes it easier for us to buy things in those moments when we're most vulnerable. Decision-making fatigue is the idea that our ability to make decisions becomes worse throughout the day after we've been making choices all day already on different things, right? Our decision-making battery gets depleted kind of throughout the day. So the later in the day it gets, the easier it gets to make bad decisions, actually. Typically early in the day is when we have the most willpower and when we can make smart decisions, and not at the end of a long workday when we're actually relaxing on the couch and seeing what we do and do not want to buy. Try to delay those decisions, not in that moment, but try to delay them to the next morning when you are well rested and you had a good breakfast or whatever, if you're fasting and you feel like your mind is clearer after fasting for a while. Make those decisions in those times and not when you're tired. In any case, let's not hang our heads. Let's keep our heads up high and keep going with our low buy, no buy intentions for this year. It's only been a month and a half. We can still refocus and we can still do good throughout the rest of the months of this year. Like I said, we have a whole year pretty much to go still and to make smart decisions about what we purchase and what we don't purchase. Now, if you made it this far into this video, then you are awesome. You are definitely my people. So please consider subscribing. I hope you join me in this little corner of the internet. And remember, no shopping in the middle of the night. I see you, Kathy, over there. Put the phone down now that you are done watching this video. No shopping.